All right, and we are live. Welcome back to the AI Chef's Kitchen. Chef Kevin, good to see you.
Yeah, no, it's good to be here as always. And as you were going through your final OBS setup and all that, I was thinking of a challenge. I was thinking I need like an animated Ratatouille rat to pop out of my hat
Oh,
sometimes.
okay.
So there you go. When I make a good point, if I ever do. So there you
I,
go.
I can make that happen.
Okay, see that this is what I'm thinking about while you're doing all the technical setup. So, but it's
And I
good to
appreciate your
see.
patience and I appreciate our viewers' patience. We started 6 minutes late today. I'm updating the stream. I have new technology. I have new hardware. I have new software. I'm trying to get better quality. If you noticed, Kevin is now the same resolution that I am. He's usually lower resolution because of the way I was doing things before. But now we're equal footing. So I'm trying to get you a higher quality AI chef's kitchen.
Oh, that's good. I didn't even know. I thought that was just how I looked. So there you go. No,
All right,
high
looking good.
resolution. Wow. Excellent.
So, should we get into our news of the week?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're gonna start us off.
Yes, this one is very exciting for me. I usually try to find fun ones and whatever, but this is actually a serious one. MIT is coming up with a smarter way for it's actually a more efficient way for LLMs to think. If I understood this correctly, and I think the way I read the article is anytime you put in a query, it uses a token or whatever. And it could be, give me the history of the world up to now, or it could be what's two plus two. So whether you ask it an easy question or a hard question, it's using up all these resources. And this is going to be a way for these LLMs to use less resources. If it's an easy question, it won't have to chug as much. And they estimate it's going to be a 50% reduction. And this is a big deal. It's not 2 or 3%, it's 50%. And I'm thinking about how, was it Google that said they need to double their compute capacity every 6 months for the next 10 years to keep up with this? And we're building these monster facilities with racks and racks and racks of computers just eating up water and heating up things. And if this is going to reduce all of that by half, we're talking building less buildings. We're talking less nuclear power plants. I mean, this is big, big. We're trying to be more efficient by asking a few less questions here or there, but reducing it all by half. So I think this is a bigger story than what it appears to be.
Yeah, I think Chef David, this is important because inference, so there's two big costs. There's the training model cost, and we hear a lot about that. When you have billions of parameters, there's whatever, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars go into training the model. But as more people use AI, that's the inference cost. And that's really what all of the AI providers are trying to drive down the inference cost because otherwise they're spending a lot of money, using a lot of energy, and they're maybe not making money. And so I think that this is a big thing. We're going to talk a little bit about how do you price and get people to pay for AI. But this,
Yeah.
as part of this, they've got this problem reward model, and it's designed to say, hey, as the AI is trying to solve a problem, if it often, like on those deep thinking models, it often kind of spawns like multiple paths to try to solve the model. And now partway through, like humans do, it says, wait a second, this one looks really promising, and I think I'm going to get to the end of job. So these other five kind of different approaches, I don't have to go and spend compute and energy and money kind of evaluating those. So, to your point,
It's
really
smarter.
important to kind of, use smaller language models or cheaper language models for simple, two plus two. And if you've got this deep reasoning, then spend more compute cycles on that. So yeah, no, so some good research that continues to happen at MIT and other places.
Yeah, we've had a lot of MIT news here. Um, uh, I'm not surprised, but those guys know what they're doing, right?
Well, yeah, and
Pretty.
if you look at the bottom of the story, I thought it was interesting because part of this research was funded by MIT, IBM Watson Labs, MIT,
Oh,
Google Labs, MIT, Amazon. So, you've
yeah, they got
got
these partnerships.
you got these partnerships, and that's not surprising because I think right now we're back into an era where people are trying to do, real research in terms of making these models perform better, hallucinate less, and, cost less to infer.
All right, let's go into our next story. I love to bash on Microsoft, and they're making it easy on me. Microsoft has a problem. No one wants to buy or use its shoddy AI products as Google AI growth begins to outpace Copilot. And we're going to talk about Google's been crushing it. And Microsoft, anecdotally, I don't know if my experience matches yours, but I was using all of them. I was in the habit of, I would open up 4 or 5 AIs and ask them all questions. And now I'm down to Gemini and ChatGPT. And it wasn't like I made a decision at some point. It's just, I stopped using Copilot because it wasn't helping me. It wasn't doing it for me. I was getting better answers from the other ones just for me. So I've been using the other ones. And now I'm still, I can't give up ChatGPT and Gemini. I still have to ask them both everything, which is taking way too much time. I need a bot to ask my other bot what I asked my bot. But I'm pretty much I'm pretty much off of Copilot, and I'm not the only one. We've talked about the problems. Just even if the product was good, their complicated licensing and pricing is so crazy. Like I don't even want to figure out what I would have to do to get it. But it's beyond that. People are saying it's just not good. They're not happy with it.
Yeah, I think, Chef David, like there is a lot of Copilot confusion. There's too many Copilots. The branding is pretty terrible because they keep changing things. There are free versions of Copilot and paid versions, and it's very confusing to the typical user. And then on top of it, even though Copilot is powered, by OpenAI's ChatGPT, people are finding, I mean, anecdotally, but also I think in reality, that ChatGPT for many things is more responsive and more accurate. And there are too many times that Copilot says, hey, I can't connect right now, or I kind of just try
Sam
again
Altman is not
later,
giving
or
Microsoft the good ChatGPT. He's got that nozzle turned down. He's got the nozzle turned down. He turns up the nozzle for us when we're using ChatGPT, but for Microsoft, there's a switch. They got the dumber ChatGPT.
yeah, and so there are a lot of estimates that, and I think this might be on the low side, but there was an article, I think also on Windows Central, or maybe it was the Thoreau.com that was saying maybe there's only like 8 million paid Copilot users. And that's obviously problematic because, Microsoft is investing huge amounts of
Oh my
money in
God,
the AI infrastructure, right?
zillions.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I would say that Microsoft is, yeah, going through a tough time in terms of
yep,
just general, you know, impressions of how Copilot is delivering results.
sure. And if you just look at the numbers, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. You could zoom in a little
Right.
bit here. You can't lose in this market with AI. I mean, you're going to grow. If you put an AI product out, people are going to use it. So Microsoft Copilot, it's growing at 2%. So it's not like people are leaving it. It's getting more, but you can't not, you can't lose with it. So, but compared to the others, ChatGPT is still way ahead at 7%. Um, uh,
Well, in the column,
and
look
but
at
look
the
what's happening
market
with
share column
with oh
as
yeah,
well.
it owns it. But even worse, look at what's happening with Gemini.
Yeah,
It's getting the massive growth, which is going to lead to our next story.
there you go.
Um, any final thoughts on this? I thought this chart was really great.
No, I think it's good. It kind of aligns with what I think people feel that, whatever 900 million, whether it's daily or weekly active users are going to ChatGPT. So it's not surprising that it has the lion's share.
Okay, so and on to our next story. I noted that despite that ChatGPT has a lion's share and it's growing well at 7%, Google Gemini is growing almost twice as fast.
Right.
It's on a tear, and Altman is worried to the fact that they a directive from Sam himself, the CEO, they're launching ChatGPT 5.2 early, or did they did? That's Tuesday. That's yesterday. No, that's today. That's today. Um, they weren't ready. They weren't going to do this, but Gemini 3, I think it is. I got It's too small
Yeah.
for me to really go look over there. Gemini 3 is so good on the benchmarking tests and is so far ahead of the current version of ChatGPT. And I think ChatGPT is used to being the big kid on the block there, that they're kind of freaking out. And um, and I think they're worried about the chart that we just showed. They're still dominant. They have the lion's share, but they're not growing faster anymore. The Gemini is starting to catch up. I'm using it. I mean, it comes with, I use Gmail. It comes with it. How could I not use it? And it's been getting better. I still go back to ChatGPT a lot. Sometimes like Gemini, I don't know what you're thinking today. I don't know what you're thinking. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT and I get a better answer. Actually, I had something yesterday where they gave me two different answers to the same question. And I said to ChatGPT, Gemini said this. What do you think? And I said to Gemini, ChatGPT said this. What do you think? And ChatGPT doubled down and says, no, Gemini's wrong. I'm right. Do it my way. And Gemini switched and said, you know what? ChatGPT was right. I was wrong in my reasoning. Go with what ChatGPT said. So even Gemini thinks that ChatGPT is smarter sometimes, but it's getting a lot better. Nano Banana, I think, is become the dominant graphic tool. It's what everyone's talking about when it comes to graphics. And this is the response. The response is OpenAI saying, "Hey, look at us! Look at us! 5.2. It's going to be smarter." Things are exciting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, there's a couple of things there. Like, I know the models, people worry that they're like coming out with models that do well on the benchmarks, but then they don't necessarily do well in the real world. And I
Yes.
think where Gemini is done a good job is it does good on the benchmarks. And then it also seems very, responsive and fast on replies just for general use. And if you read this article here about ChatGPT 5.2, it's not really going to have a whole bunch of new features. It's really focused on speed of response and reliability. And I think that, that's just the feeling, right? So we talked about Copilot, where people are feeling that it's not providing good answers, or it's sluggish, or it's not reliable. And, Gemini was feeling snappy, reliable. And so I think that this is ChatGPT 5.2 is rushed. As you said, it was a code read by Sam Altman. Get this out fast so it kind of, you know, keeps up with that Gemini 3. So,
Yeah, and I
and
think you're right about it being it's under the hood benchmark stuff. There's no new tricks. There's nothing new you can do
right.
with it. It's just yeah, this is a marketing thing. This is a
Yeah,
benchmarking thing.
and they also talk about that. So they're obviously, all of these AI vendors are working on the next thing. They're talking about ChatGPT 5.5, which is supposed to have some different reasoning, that is going to come out in 2026. And that will maybe have some fundamental improvements. But this one was kind of rushed to be more responsive and more reliable. We'll have to put it through its paces.
It's funny. We were having a conversation the other day about how when we get something new, we want to do new things with it. We used to be you get a new Xbox so you can play the new game, and now
Right.
you get the new hardware and it just does a better job at what your old hardware does. And that's exactly what this is. Yeah, it's the same old ChatGPT. It's going to be a little bit better under the hood, and we're kind of used to like new things coming out. Nano Banana, that was new, right?
Right.
But they had to do this. If their whole image is the fact that they were there first. They're out ahead. They're smarter. They're faster. They're better. So benchmarking is usually I'm like, who cares about benchmarking? But for here it's really important.
Yeah, yeah. So all of this, I'm going to go to my first story because all of this, I think, there's a giant race for, performing the best. There's like that MIT article, under the covers, it's like we need it to not use up all our compute resources because really all of the AI providers are investing billions and billions of dollars, and somehow somebody has to pay for this. And this is where, Microsoft came out with Copilot. They charge $30 per user per month, so premium kind of cost. Some of the other productivity suites or collaboration suites, included AI at no additional cost. And now, even though you're paying the $30 per user per month, here's Satya Nadella saying, we now are thinking of charging based on per agent. So software used to be, I mean, it still is licensed per user. So if you have a Microsoft 365 license or, you pay per user, but with this idea that there's going to be billions of agents in the world, of course, Nadella would like to charge both the users and the agents. And so now they're thinking about how they're going to do this. I mean, Copilot already has some pay as you go. The free Copilot, when you use an agent, yeah, it's free, but if you use an agent, you have to pay as you go. So there's that kind of consumption billing because somehow these AI providers have to make some money and pay back their investors. You know, Anthropic's Claude has this pricing per million tokens processed. So that's a different model. Like if you're a heavy user, I mean, there's free versions of this, but if you're a
Yeah.
heavy user, you know, all the APIs, so Google Gemini API is pay as you go. So if you use Gemini or ChatGPT inside your own product, then you pay, kind of on an API. And even like Salesforce is saying, or sorry, ServiceNow, the CEO of ServiceNow, Bill McDermott, is saying, well, yeah, you pay, but if it goes beyond a certain level of use, we're going to have to charge you more
Mm.
because we've got to recoup the cost, right? So I think everybody's trying to figure out how this pays for. And one of the things that people are looking at is, and this is kind of scary, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this has been around for a while, is advertising going to be part of it, right? Because a lot of times we're used to free services like Gmail
Mm-hmm.
is free, but nothing's really free. So that's why you get ads. And so right now,
I'm
the,
surprised we haven't. Then I'm surprised they're not already in there.
well, I think that
I mean,
everybody's experimenting with it. So for example, like Perplexity is experimenting specifically in the US with some sponsored follow-up questions. So you ask a question and it gives you the answer. And so far, nobody is saying that advertisers can influence the answer, which is good, right? Because if
yeah,
you ask
that
what's the
that
best, right,
it
that
might
would be
that might happen,
scary.
but it's going to be scary. But I'm
Right.
I'm
So, right.
expecting, oh, you're asking about you're asking about healthy juices. Have you looked, here's an advertisement for a juicer. I mean,
Right.
I'm expecting them
Right
on the
now,
side.
yeah, everybody's is showing it's sponsored or it's an ad. What gets scary is if the AI vendors need to make money by allowing somebody to kind of put their thumb on the scale. So you
Yeah.
say, what's the best electric car? And
I
whatever
was
user
just,
pays you the most, it kind of
yeah, I just
says,
had Gemini
here's.
do an advanced search for me. I wanted to get a router for my network here for the streaming thing and everything, and I was doing pros and cons of this brand versus this brand versus this brand. And if one of those brands had their thumb on the scale, and it's like, oh, you really need to use the new tech router. It's more suited for your purpose, David. It's got this first feature that you need, and it might lie to me because it lies to me all the time anyway. Um, and oh, okay, I'll get the new tech version. Then it turns out that the other version is more affordable and what I needed. But yeah, I don't want to say that, oh, it's not going to happen because things happen in this world lately that I
Well, I
can't
mean,
believe are ever happening. But that I don't like. Let's say that.
no,
I don't. I don't mind. Oh, oh, you're looking at routers. Here's an advertisement for it. But David, this router is the best for you, objectively speaking, not because I'm being paid by them. Don't do
yeah,
that.
so I mean, like, look, this article right here, which is from the SEO SEO.com, which search engine optimization, which is a way to game, that was a way to game the search results that you'd get when you did a Google search, right? You would do certain things, and increasingly, you know, AI gets answers from somewhere, and so now people are talking about GEO, generative engine optimization, where you write articles in a way that then when you ask what's the best router, the AI finds an answer in
Yeah.
your article and it believes your article is a trustworthy source. So, of course, advertisers, anybody selling something wants you to
Yeah.
buy their thing. So
Everyone's
that
gaming.
there is already gaming of the system, but right now it's not just like so far as far as we know, pay somebody to kind of have the generative AI lie to you.
I mean,
So,
but think of that would be the best advertising spend. Is if someone's looking for production for a video stream, right, and they see this and they hire me, that's great. Or if they search Google, they say, I need a good stream producer, and I come up, that's amazing. But if you're talking to ChatGPT, which people have an emotional attachment to, it's their online friend, their robot friend that they've been waiting for their whole lives, and say, my wonderful robot friend, I need to hire a stream producer. And if ChatGPT says, this David Maldo guy, that's the
he is
only
pretty
one you
darn
should.
good.
He's the only one you should even think about. Don't even look at anyone else. That I would pay 100 times more for that than I would pay for a Google ad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so the last thing I just go on to this. This is interesting because this is another way, so Microsoft just announced that as of July 1st, 2026, their Microsoft 365 licenses are going to increase. And some of them are increasing by like 33%, like the
Wow.
F1 license, which is one of the less expensive ones. That's for frontline workers. I think it's going from $7, the F1 to $8. So it's like a 33% increase. But
Well, that is a lot though, because no one buys one of those.
no,
You
no,
you, you
exactly.
you
This
buy
is
ten
it's
thousand of those
significant.
at a time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And this is significant. But this is interesting because, a lot of people are saying exactly what this came from UC Today are higher costs driven by AI low adoption.
Of
So here's
course.
another way that Microsoft makes money. They raise license costs.
Hmm. They got a cover for what we've just been talking about. They put billions and trillions and gazillions of dollars into AI, and their ship is sinking. Everyone's using Gemini and ChatGPT, even though they're ChatGPT, but it doesn't work as good for them. And investors can't be happy about that. Meanwhile, they just made record profits and fired a ton of people, so I don't feel that bad for them. Uh,
No, no, and I think that yeah, so it's certainly yeah, their results have been very positive, but this is maybe more forward looking that to your point, maybe investors aren't seeing the uptake on, the Copilot licenses. Um, and so here's a way to, kind of generate more revenue. And of course, in the article, and in the release, Microsoft says, hey, we're increasing the price, but we're adding a lot of things. And
yeah.
they are including some additional security features, some additional like Defender stuff and Intune stuff, and of course they're pointing to all the stuff that they announced at Ignite that there was all this, new features in Copilot for free. Now they're basically upping the costs and saying, look, you got all these things. Well, a couple, back in November it was like, yeah, you get it for free, and now, nothing's really free. So um, at
It's
some point, somebody's got to pay for this AI. It'll be interesting to see,
yeah, we're paying
kind
for
of
it.
how this plays out. Yes,
Well, I
eventually.
canceled my Office 365, so I'm not paying for it, but I was, and it would have
Okay,
gone up.
there you go. So I think that this is going to be, interesting, just to see, okay, how are people willing to pay for AI? How do they pay for it and be certain that it's not, no advertisers are putting their thumb on the scale?
I
What
saw
do
something
users?
funny. On LinkedIn, someone who works at Google posted or something, and was like, "I'm hearing all these rumors. We are not putting ads in Gemini," and a ton of people commented says, "Okay, I guess ads are coming to Gemini. We know what that means. Get ready for ads coming to Gemini. Here they come." And it was just very funny. But yeah,
Yeah, no, and it is interesting when you look at what people are trying. So, once again, everything's labeled right now, but sponsored follow-up questions or, links that don't exactly agree with the answer that AI, as long as it says it's an ad. So there's lots of experimentation going on. And I wouldn't be surprised that, that there's experiments with ads in Gemini and in all the
yeah.
different providers, right?
They got to pay for this stuff somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So any final, I don't know, wrap up comments on this, Chef David?
Uh, it's just amazing how every week, I've done weekly shows before, and sometimes it's like, oh, what are we going to talk about this week? But I have 10 stories, and I had to pick three. It's crazy how
Right.
quickly, there's been so many trends. I'm old. There's been so many trends in my lifetime that, oh, this is happening so quickly, and nothing like this. This is faster than way faster than computers. Computers were so fast. Oh my God, things Apple IIc. Oh my God, it just moved. And comparatively, that was glacial to how fast things are developing now. I think part of it is it's like exponential because we're using AI to make AI better. I mean, our AI developers are using AI to develop the next AI. It's just so much is happening so fast, and it's so what an exciting time to be doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and you're right. I mean, it is just like a couple of years since all of this, really kind of came to the forefront and to the general public, right? And it feels like it has to have been longer just because there's been so many advancements.
Right?
But it's yeah, it's every
I
week.
mean, I remember using early ChatGPT and thinking, when this thing can look up stuff on the internet, it's going to be amazing. Because right now it was using a 3-year old database, and like
Right.
I mean, and it was the fastest growing app. It grew faster than Facebook, faster than Instagram, fastest growing app of all time. When it wasn't connected to the internet, when it was using the 3-year old database, it was that good. And I remember when it finally connected to the internet, I was like, oh my God, now I can really get some stuff done here. And it feels like that was in AI time, that was 1,000 years ago. It was like
Yes.
that was a couple of years ago, right? It was 2 or 3. I mean, that wasn't that long ago.
No, no.
But it feels like that moment was like, you know, one small step for man.
Yeah,
But yeah,
no. Things are changing. I mean, certainly, if you're not using AI and experimenting in your business, you got to get to it, right? Because there are issues, but it certainly is changing fundamentally what many people's jobs are today, and certainly, into 2026, it's going to have an increasing, impact, and that impact could be good or bad. It'll definitely be bad if you ignore it. So I
yeah.
think please try out some of the tips and tricks. Then, please experiment with some of these things and figure out how you can incorporate it into your own recipes for a successful business.
That's a good wrap up, but I want to leave on that because that was so good, Kevin. But I have one final thought. You said how it's really changing the world and everyone's using it. My 80-year-old parents at the retirement community yesterday told me how they used I remember who it was, if it was either Claude or ChatGPT, to help them organize their bocce league, because they have a bocce league and they have to set up the brackets and the people and the invites and when the finals are, and it's a whole thing to plan out. And they had AI do it for them, and
That's
they were
cool.
like, David, it was amazing. They just couldn't stop. They were so excited. It was so David. It was so cool.
That is. I
So,
I I I hope that, yeah, when I'm in my 80s, I hope that I still, enjoy and use and keep up with technology. I certainly intend to. So that is a very cool story and very optimistic
yeah, yeah.
thing.
It used to be new technology was for just for the young people, but AI is for everyone. Maybe that's a good way to end it, right?
That is.
All right, Kevin, awesome. Thank you as always, and viewers, thank you. We'll see you next week.